Hello and welcome back. This is video number 4, using the sidebar. The sidebar for the Gutenberg editor is located to the right. So we're going to discuss the different features and what's available to you. Okay, so the sidebar is to the right, and as I briefly mentioned in the previous videos, that upon editing certain blocks, you will see that the right-hand sidebar will change. So the reason why they've entered a lot of different other features into the sidebar is because, as you can see, there's only so much that you can put in here. So as you can see here, if I highlight this, I can edit the block type, the heading 1, 2, 3, 4, bold, italicize. I can hyperlink it, and I can do a few more things. Now, if I were to want to change the alignment, I could not do that over here. So if I highlight this here, so we highlight this here, let me highlight it. You can see text alignment left, center, and to the right. And if I click on advanced, I can add a HTML anchor, which basically lets you link that link. So that's essentially what this is. But there's certain elements here that are kind of redundant. So you just need to be aware of what is redundant and what is not. All right, so if we go to the bulleted list here, you can see a list is a list. So there's not really anything additionally to that. All right, so right here, you can change it from an unordered list, which is basically dots, to an ordered list, which is numbers, as you can see here. So if we change it back to this, we can indent it, and that's what this is about. So we can move it to the right-hand side. So we can move this one to the right and move this one to the left. We can then bold, we can italicize, and there we go. So what I found is that as you begin to edit the blocks, you will learn what other features are available to you. Now that's in terms of blocks. If we go over here, there's blocks and there's document. Document controls the whole page or the whole post. So in other words, you can go through here. You can see that this post is public, meaning everybody else can see this. So if I wanted to change this, I could to private so that everybody cannot see this. Post format, we have standard, we have different post formats for different media types. You can say stick to the top of the blog, so you can move this to the top of the blog. You can click pending review if it's pending. So if you are, say, a writer or you have a writer on your team, you could give them access to the site and you could have them click pending review, and then you come in and you review it, and if it's good to go, then you post it and publish it to public. Permalinks is basically the URL. So if you click here, you're going to see the domain name with the name of the page. So like I talked about earlier, if you name the page title a certain name, that will be yourdomain.com/the title name. All right, that's basically what the permalink is. Now, this enables you to change that if you choose to do so, but just bear in mind that if you're editing on a live site and you change the permalink, and that post or page has been there for maybe weeks or even months, then by changing it, you could potentially lose the traffic that is coming from maybe Google to that page. So you would need to use like a WordPress plugin like Yoast SEO to change that. Then of course you have categories, which allows you to categorize your posts or your pages. You can click add new category if you want to add an additional category. Now, as you can see, there are parent categories. And then if you want to make a category underneath a specific parent category, this will become the child category. So that's there if you want to add categories. And then of course you have tags. Tags allows you to create a similarity between posts or pages. So if you have, let's say, 5 posts that are dealing with a specific maybe audio soundtrack, or maybe they're a specific element that is different than categories, then you can enter that here. So for example, let's say that you have a podcast, blog, and you've interviewed 5 different people, and they are very similar in a specific industry or niche. Then you can put that here, and what that will do is if somebody's interested in that niche, they click on that tag and they will be able to see the other 5 people that you've interviewed in that specific niche or industry. So that's what tags is all about. Featured image is basically the image that people will see before they click on the post or page. So this allows you to enter an image. We have an excerpt, and then of course the discussion. So you can allow comments, you can remove comments, or remove pingbacks and trackbacks. So if you don't want discussion, you can uncheck that. And if you do want discussion, you can click allow comments. All right, so that's basically it. Block is different, of course. Block pertains to over here. And that's pretty much it. Let's move on to the next video. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 5, common blocks. So there's a category of blocks called common blocks that you saw earlier. So let's go ahead and go over it now. Okay, so up at the top, if we click on the add block, now remember, most used tends to be the blocks that you use. Now, if we click here, common blocks are different. Common blocks are based upon the most common blocks for WordPress across the board. So these are the common blocks that they have found to be common. So we got paragraph, we got image, we got gallery, we've got heading, list, quote, file, audio, cover, and video. So WordPress has figured out that the majority of people will use these blocks. So if we click on paragraph, let's just go in depth. I know I covered a little bit of this in the previous videos, but let's just go further. So I'm going to go ahead and add a paragraph here. So we're going to click paragraph. This is a test. So paragraph is most likely going to be the body of your article. So we can left align, we can center align, we can right align, we can bold, italicize, hyperlink, and there are some more here. So these are basically what we went over earlier, so I'm not going to go over that now. But over here, we can see paragraph. So we can highlight that. Under the paragraph right-hand side, we have text settings, so you can change the font size. So let's say we're like, this is too small. So let's change it from normal size to medium size. Or let's change it to huge, and we're like, okay, this is way too big. Let's make it small. So that allows you to change the size as such, but you can also change the size like with this. So here's about numbers. So you can do custom. So these are specific sizes, but you can say, okay, I want something in between large and huge. So we got large and huge. So we can see large is 36, huge is 48. So there's still a gap between these two. So let's say I want something like 40. Drop cap, if we highlight the beginning word or beginning letter and we click on drop cap, this is what you see a lot of times in magazines. So it just makes it a little more professional. It looks good. All right. So there's actually studies that show that the human eye, when they see a drop cap, they look upon it and think, oh, this must be legit, or this must be important because it looks like a magazine or a newspaper. Now we have color settings, which allows you to change the background color like this. So if we scroll down, we can see that it changes the background color. And this is something that you could not have done with the classic editor. So this is a big pro. So we can change it to this. So you don't want to choose something that's just too much in your face like this, unless you know your audience and you know that's the colors that you want to use. Or maybe that fits your brand. Maybe your brand colors are pink and blue. You could do something like that. All right, so we're going to choose, let's gray, and we can choose red, blue, like that. And you got custom color, which allows you to pick a color that might not be on this list. So let's say we're going to clear this. When we clear it, it removes the background. We can click custom color, and it allows you to choose different colors that may not be on this list. You can do the same with the text color. So we can clear that, and let's say we don't like the dark blue, we can click custom color and we can choose a different color that's not on that list, like so. And under advanced, you have CSS class, but if you don't know anything about CSS, you can simply ignore that. So that's it when it comes to the paragraphed block. All right, so let's scroll down and let's go ahead and add a new block. So if we go to common blocks, we have images. So images are, and then we have galleries. So this one down here is an image, so we'll click that. Now, image is very self-explanatory. We briefly touched base on this, but all you have to do is simply upload. You can go to media library, or you can insert from an existing URL that is linking to an image. So either of those choices, you can choose, the image will show up, and that's it. So it's very, very self-explanatory. And then of course you have gallery, which is the same, but it's just multiple images versus one image. So let's go here. Let's add a new block under common blocks. So we went from paragraph, image, gallery. We got heading, which we touched base earlier. So you can change the size, the heading size, and the alignment to the right. We covered list actually earlier. So if we go to list doesn't have any settings on the side. It just allows you to create an unordered list, an ordered list, and do indentations to the left or the right, bold and italicize. So very, very easy to set up. So we went over quotes. We actually created one. Quotes is simple. You just click quote, you enter text. So quotes up here too. So you can change the styles. You can make it large like that, or make it small. Typically, what you'll notice is quotes typically will look like more like this. They'll have big, they'll be italicized, and it'll be quite obvious to people that that is a quote. You have advanced, but like I said, most of you will not use advanced, so you don't have to even click that. So next off, on common blocks, we went through these. If you click on audio, very similar. You upload the audio file as an MP3 file, and that's it. It's done. It's very, very similar to images. We'll click this here, common blocks. And then we pretty much went through all of these videos, very similar. You just have to have the video in hand on your computer. You upload it to the media library, you upload it, or you get the URL. We have file, which is again similar. If you click on file, same thing. Very similar to audio, video, and image, and gallery. And of course, the last one is the cover. So the cover is also very, very similar. And the cover, typically you want to have it at the top. So that. And you just upload an image. And that's it. Of course, when you're done, you want to click publish and you're good to go. Hello and welcome to video number 6. Let's talk about formatting blocks, and we'll go to every single block like we did in the previous video. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some blocks. So we're going to click on the add block here. We're going to go find the formatting blocks, which are here. So you see there's code, classic, custom HTML, pre-formatted, pull quote, table, and verse. So most of you, I will say, will not really use this unless you are using maybe an outside third-party service and they say something like, you need to add this code to your website. So some of them are going to say you're going to need to add it to like the header or the footer. In those cases, you might want to hand it off to a webmaster because this would be different. But let's say, for example, that they say add the code to the body of your page. So if that's the case, all you have to do is click on code, and then you can add the code here. Now, like I said, this is for advanced users. Most of you will not use that. Next up is the HTML. Now, believe it or not, some of you and a good majority of you will probably encounter something like this. So they might tell you, enter this HTML code into the body of your WordPress site. So if that's the case, click on custom HTML and you simply enter the HTML here. Now, most of you will not know HTML, but that's just how it is. So if I were to write some HTML, and what I'm doing now is I'm basically creating a link. So I'll do http google.com Google. So if you have no idea what I just did, you don't have to worry about that. But if I click on preview, what I did was I just created a link. So it's a link. So if you don't know HTML, it may not be applicable to you, but at least you are aware of what this block is. Okay, so next up we have formatting. Under formatting, we have classic. So what this is the old classic editor. Now, do not be confused that this is how to convert back to the old classic editor. We're still using Gutenberg. All right, so this just happened to be within a block. So if you like the old classic editor and you want to utilize it within a block, that's fine. All right, so that's what that is. So you can see what is available to you. Going back, you got formatting. We got pre-formatted. So if I go back here, okay, so to explain what the pre-formatted block is, like the paragraph block, the pre-formatted block is basically there to display text. Now, unlike the paragraph block, the pre-formatted block basically keeps any spacing or any line breaks exactly as they are entered. So in other words, the pre-formatted block is displayed in sort of a monospaced font, making it easy to keep text perfectly aligned. Now, the pre-formatted block also includes styling or the ability to add hyperlinks or as short links that a code block doesn't have. So, like I said, most of you will not use this, okay? But it's there if you ever have to need it. So going back to formatted blocks, we did these, we did this, So we got pull quote and table. Table is nice if you want to create a table. So if you want to create a table that has maybe 3 columns and 5 rows, you could do 3 columns, 5 rows, not 25, 5 rows, and click create. And there we go. So now we can enter text within the table. And this is amazing because this is something that you could not really do in the old classic editor. You would have to find like a plugin and all of that to do that. So this is the old classic editor. So this is really neat. This is something that you would definitely use. Going to formatting, got table, we got verse. So verse is great for poetry. As you can see, it uses special spacing formats or quote song lyrics. So if you're using something to create song lyrics or poetry, this would be great for you. Moving on, we got just a few more. So we did this one, we did this one, and we haven't done this one. So pull quote, it says it gives special visual emphasis to a quote. So the other ones didn't really allow you to change the color, but it allows you to change a little bit here and there. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to change the actual color. So this is a quote, but the difference is you can change the main color. So you can change the top line and the bottom line. So as you can see, it looks fairly nice and professional like that. So we can keep it red and we can change the text color to something like black, gray, maybe orange, maybe green, or maybe we can do green up here and red here, something like that, or blue. So that's the main difference. So quote is different than verse, different than pull quote. So as you can see, what this allows you to do is it changes literally the formatting and makes it look nice. So those are the formatting blocks. Let's move on to layout elements in the next video.